Currently, plans are underway to launch their own currency. Initially, this currency will be used for trade among themselves, but there are also plans to make it a common currency for global trade among most countries. The aim is to reduce the dominance of the US dollar as the primary trading currency. It is well known that any impact on the dollar will have significant consequences for the Western economic order. However, the extent of this threat is still uncertain. Today, we will explore whether a BRICS common currency truly poses a challenge to the Western economic order. For years, the US dollar has been the official currency for international trade. However, in recent years, there has been increasing discussion about creating a new currency to eliminate the dollar's influence and counter American hegemony. The push for de-dollarization has gained momentum, particularly after the start of the Russia-Ukraine war last February. This event provided the BRICS nations with further motivation to proceed with their plans. Reports suggest that the BRICS nations, led by Alexander Babakov, the deputy chairman of the State Duma, are actively exploring the creation of a new payment medium that does not rely on the dollar or the euro. This has raised many questions about whether the BRICS nations are genuinely developing a new currency for trade and who is spearheading this movement. Additionally, there is curiosity about whether this plan will truly benefit the member states and if it will ultimately succeed. It is important to note that the US dollar has held the title of the world's reserve currency since 1944, following the decision made by the Bretton Woods Agreement. Since then, the dollar has enjoyed a position of power globally, granting the US disproportionate influence over other economies. Furthermore, the US has frequently employed sanctions as a tool to achieve its foreign policy objectives. In conclusion, the plans for the BRICS nations to establish their own currency are currently in progress. While the potential impact on the Western economic order remains uncertain, the discussions surrounding this topic have raised significant questions. The US dollar has long reigned as the king of currencies, granting the US considerable advantages. However, the emergence of a new currency could potentially challenge this status quo. However, there are countries that have consistently opposed the United States and its currency, the dollar, and have actively sought to challenge its dominance. Russia and China are prime examples of such countries. They have long desired to undermine the hegemony of the dollar and bring about its decline. This process is known as de-dollarization, which involves reducing the dollar's prominence in global markets. One aspect of de-dollarization is substituting the US dollar with other currencies for trading commodities like oil. Proponents of de-dollarization argue that this process would decrease other countries' reliance on the US dollar and the US economy. They believe that this could help mitigate the impact of economic and political changes in the US on their own economies. Additionally, countries can reduce their exposure to currency and interest rate fluctuations, leading to improved economic stability and a reduced risk of financial crises. Support for de-dollarization has been growing steadily in recent years. In 2022, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) observed a significant decrease in central banks' holdings of the US dollar as reserves compared to the previous year. The IMF's data on the currency composition of official foreign exchange reserves revealed that the dollar share fell below 59% in the final quarter of the previous year, continuing a two-decade decline. Surprisingly, this decline in the dollar share did not correspond to an increase in the shares of other long-standing reserve currencies like the pound sterling, yen, or euro. Instead, the shift away from the dollar has been divided between two directions. A quarter of it went into the Chinese renminbi, while the remainder went into the currencies of smaller countries, particularly those with a more limited role as reserve currencies. When Russia attacked Ukraine, it faced severe repercussions from the international community. Western governments took measures to freeze approximately $300 billion of Russia's foreign currency reserves. This incident further exemplified the tensions and conflicts surrounding the use of the US dollar as a tool of economic and political influence. In summary, certain countries, such as Russia and China, have consistently opposed the U.S. and its currency, the dollar, and have actively pursued de-dollarization. This process aims to reduce the dollar's dominance in global markets and decrease dependence on the U.S. economy. The shift away from the dollar has gained momentum in recent years, with central banks diversifying their reserve currencies. The attack on Ukraine by Russia highlighted the geopolitical implications of the dollar's role in international affairs. In the past year, Western governments froze around $300 billion of Russia's foreign currency reserves, which is approximately half of their total reserves. Additionally, Russian banks were expelled from the SWIFT international payment system. This so-called dollar weaponization has not only affected Russia but has also rattled other countries. In response, countries like India and China, who still wish to trade with Russia, have started conducting trade in their own currencies, such as the rupee and the yuan. This has sparked discussions about de-dollarization in the international trading order. Brazil and China have been actively trading with each other in their respective currencies, contributing to the establishment of the Chinese renminbi as an international currency and a potential challenger to the dollar. India, too, has been striving to reduce its dependence on the dollar. Currently, around 18 countries, including the UK, Germany, Russia, and the United Arab Emirates, have been granted permission to trade in Indian rupees. Some economists like Nurul Rubani have even suggested that the Indian rupee could eventually become one of the world's global reserve currencies. The BRICS collective, consisting of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is also working towards creating a new currency to facilitate trade among its members. Reports suggest that a new financial agreement could be announced as early as August during their annual summit in South Africa. It has been claimed that Russia is supportive of this idea, given its own experience with economic sanctions after the Ukraine invasion. Alexander Babakov has mentioned the potential benefits for Russia and India in establishing a common currency for payments, referring to it as the most viable option. The US dollar has held its position as the world's leading reserve currency for decades. It is used in over 74% of international trade, 90% of currency exchanges, nearly 100% of oil trades, and accounts for just under 60% of all foreign currency reserves held by central banks. While the dollar share as a reserve currency has declined, and the euro and renminbi have gained popularity, the dollar still remains the most widely used reserve currency. Following recent global financial challenges and assertive U.S. foreign policies, the BRICS countries have even more motivation to explore the possibility of launching a new currency. However, even if a BRICS common currency were to be introduced and circulated, the potential impact on the U.S. dollar remains uncertain. Experts have been analyzing the potential of a BRICS currency to challenge the dollar's dominance. If the BRICS currency were to stabilize against the dollar, it could weaken the power of U.S. sanctions and potentially lead to a decline in the dollar's value. This, in turn, could cause an economic crisis that would affect American households. The extent to which the BRICS common currency could threaten the Western economic order is still a topic of debate. We would love to hear your thoughts on whether you believe the BRICS common currency could pose a threat to the Western economic order. Please feel free to share your opinions in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.